Good morning, students. Welcome to the Richikul online school. It is class 9th, science, chapter 6, tissues, and it is lecture number 3. My dear students, in my previous class, I told you about two types of plant tissues. First was meristematic tissue. In my previous lecture, I told you about the meristematic tissue and its types, and now we will learn about the permanent tissues. I told you that permanent tissue is made up of the cells which have lost their capability to divide, and they may be living or dead also. And this is the main difference I told you about between the meristematic and permanent tissue, that it has lost its capability to divide. But the meristematic tissue, the cells may divide and form the new cells. Now, the types of this permanent tissue. First is simple permanent tissue and second is complex permanent tissue. Here I want to advise you that you should note everything, all these divisions and this classification. So, permanent tissue, first is simple permanent tissue and second we will learn about complex permanent tissue. Now, what is simple permanent tissue? Simple permanent tissue means which is made up of similar type of cells. It means only one type of cells. The tissue is made up of one type of cells. That is called simple permanent tissue. And this type of tissue and this type of cells have common origin and function also. But the complex permanent tissue, that will be made up of more than one type of cells. So this is the basic difference between simple and permanent tissue. Now, the types of simple permanent tissue, two broad categories I am giving you. First is protective tissue and second is supportive tissue. Although these names are not given in your NCERT, but here I have given these divisions. And under protective tissue, three types of tissues come: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And under the supportive tissue, two types of tissues are there. First is epidermis and second is cork. So we are going to learn about these types of permanent tissues now. So under the protective tissue, first type of tissue is parenchyma. Now my dear students, the cells of this tissue all are living and it consists of the thin walled cells. It means cells have thin walls that is made up of cellulose, and it has large intercellular spaces. As you can see in the diagram, the spaces are there between the cells. These triangular parts you can see, these are the spaces between the cells, and all the cells are living and the cell wall is very thin. So this is the structure about parenchyma tissue. This diagram also you can draw in your notebooks. Now, if we come to the functions of parenchyma tissue, first function is storage of food, because it has large vacuoles. So it can store food, minerals, nutrients, all these things can be stored in these vacuoles. That is why its function is storage of food. Now, second function of parenchyma is photosynthesis. Why photosynthesis? Because in this type of tissue, in cells, chlorophyll is present, and you might be knowing that chlorophyll helps in photosynthesis. That is why it is its function. Now, third function is it gives buoyancy, means floating tendency to the aquatic plants. You might have seen some aquatic plants, they float on water. Why? Because these have large air cavities present in between them. That is why they are able to float on water. So these are all the functions of parenchyma tissue, that it stores the food, minerals, food and all the nutrients. Then it helps in photosynthesis because it contains chlorophyll, and then it gives buoyancy to the aquatic plants so that the plants may float in water, and it is due to the air cavities present in between the cells. So this is all about the parenchyma tissue. You can note down the structure and functions. These all are given here on the screen. and this diagram also you can draw in your notebook. Now I am going to show the transverse and longitudinal sections of this type of tissue, the cells, the longitudinal and transverse section. Here it is, you can see the A part, it shows the transverse section, and the B part shows the longitudinal section. So you can draw these diagrams in your notebook. And the next type of tissues, that is collenchyma, sclerenchyma, all these we will learn in our next video lecture. Thank you.